Hola, Miss April.
Hi, Beulah.
Mi nombre es Beulah.
Yes, I know your name is Beulah.
Me gusta, well, I'm trying to say what I like to eat, but I can't remember how to say spaghetti.
Why are you speaking Spanish? Is your family going on another missions trip?
No, it's for school. We had to pick a language to study for 6 whole weeks, and I figured Spanish would be the one that's most like English, but it ain't. I keep forgetting all the words and the rules.
Well, I'm sure you'll get better the more you practice.
I wish everybody just spoke the same language. I don't even care which one. Ooh, maybe French, 'cause that's supposed to be the language of love. Although I don't know why it's called that.
Oh, I think it's because it doesn't have any harsh sounds, so everything sounds beautiful and pleasant, no matter what's being said.
Oh, well, I'm originally from Paris, so I think I could probably pick it up real quick.
Beulah, they speak English in Paris, Tennessee. And isn't that where you're from?
Which language would you like everybody to speak, Miss April?
Well, I kind of like how there are so many different ones. But did you know that there was once a time when everyone did speak the same language?
What? I did not know that. When was it?
From when Adam and Eve lived in the Garden of Eden until a few generations after the Great Flood, from which God spared Noah and his family. After the flood, God had told everyone to have children and to fill the whole earth with people. But instead, they stayed in one place and started building a tower.
A tar? Like what Rapunzel got locked up in? You know, the beautiful princess who had long, thick, beautiful hair? Like mine.
No, the tower that the people in the Bible were building was much bigger than the one in that made-up story. They wanted it to be able to reach heaven. They may have even foolishly thought that they could make something to protect them against another flood.
Oh, that is a smart idea.
No, because there wasn't going to be another flood.
How do you know?
God had promised that He would never destroy the earth with the flood again.
Oh.
And God always keeps His promises. He had even given everyone a sign in the sky to reassure them of His promise.
A sign in the sky? You mean like a billboard? Every time we go on a road trip, me and Billy take turns trying to find things on billboards that start with each letter of the alphabet.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, but Billy's always trying to use things that don't start with the letter he's looking for, 'cause he can't spell too good. One time he spotted a picture of a knife on a Cracker Barrel sign and tried to use that for the letter N.
Well, that's an easy mistake. You can't tell that it starts with a K by the way it sounds. But to answer your question, the sign in the sky that God gave was the rainbow.
Oh, I love seeing rainbows in the sky. Once I saw 2 of them at the same time. Is there really a pot of gold at the end of them?
No, that's also just something made up. But rainbows, especially double rainbows, are very beautiful.
So what happened with the tar?
Well, God didn't want everyone working together to build a tower. He wanted them to spread out and populate the earth, so He gave them different languages. Suddenly, the people could no longer understand each other, so they stopped building the tower and the surrounding city.
Oh, what was the city called?
We don't know what it was originally called, but after all the different languages were given, it was called Babel, which is the Hebrew word for confusion.
Babble? That's what my little brother does. Nobody can figure out what in the world he's saying except my mama. She's the only one who speaks Boogeray.
Well, the city was also called Babylon, and that's where our Bible story for today took place. The story is about the king of Babylon and 4 young men who chose to follow God's instructions rather than the king's.
All right, I'm interested. Let's hear the story, Miss April. How's it start?
Well, do you remember how we learned about King Josiah last time, and how God had said that disaster was coming to the kingdom of Judah?
Yeah, but it wasn't going to happen during Josiah's lifetime because he was so good.
That's right! But after Josiah died, his sons went right back to doing evil.
Oh, no.
God sent multiple prophets to warn them that He was going to allow their enemies to bring destruction. But the people and the kings didn't listen or repent.
Is that where the king of Babylon comes in?
Babylon. Yes, his name was Nebuchadnezzar. While King Josiah's oldest son was the king of Judah, Nebuchadnezzar came and attacked the city of Jerusalem for the first time.
The first time? How many times did he attack them?
Well, a total of 3 times, but we're just going to focus on the first time today.
Oh, okay. I ain't no expert, but it kind of seems like they'd have built a wall and had some people being a lookout before getting attacked 3 times.
Well, they did have a wall, but it didn't help them because Nebuchadnezzar laid siege to the city. Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
What is it?
Oh, it's when somebody starts feeling poorly and can't control their muscles. My friend had one at school one time.
Oh, no, that's a seizure.
Oh, I thought that's what you said. What was the word again?
Siege.
Oh, I don't reckon I know that word. Is that English?
Yes, it's when an army comes and surrounds a city and doesn't let anyone in or out of the city's walls.
Oh, well, everybody'd be safe if they stayed in, right?
For a while, but if the army stayed a long time, then the city would eventually run out of food. The fields where they would grow their food were outside of the city walls.
Oh.
The last time that Nebuchadnezzar's army came and surrounded Jerusalem, they were there for 1.5 years.
Wow, the people couldn't leave the city for 1.5 years?
Nope.
And nobody could bring them anything?
No.
No cornmeal?
Nope.
No candy bars?
No, for 2 reasons.
What was that?
Well, the first reason is because the Babylonian army wouldn't have let anyone into or out of the city. And the second reason is there were no candy bars.
Oh, I am so glad I wasn't born in Bible times. I love candy bars. Kit Kats and Rolos and Milky Ways, Hershey bars, oh, and peanut butter cups.
They are delicious. But let's get back to the Babylonian sieges by Nebuchadnezzar.
What did the K stand for?
What K?
Nebuchadnezzar's middle initial. Was it Carl? Or Kyle? Or Caden?
No. His name wasn't Nebuchadnezzar. It was Nebuchadnezzar. All one word.
Oh, well, is that his first or his last name?
It was his only name. Back then, people only had one name. They would usually add where they were from or their father or ancestor's name to distinguish themselves from other people with the same name. For example, Jesus was called Jesus of Nazareth, which was his hometown, and Jesus, son of David, because he was a descendant of King David.
I reckon I'd be known as Beulah, daughter of Arliss, or Beulah of Paris. What would your Bible name be, Miss April?
I guess April of Indiana. But getting back to our story.
Oh, right, the sieges. There were 3 of them?
Yes. In the first one, Nebuchadnezzar attacked Jerusalem and he took some of the valuable items from the temple. Be sure and remember that detail because it's going to be important in part 5 of our Daniel series in a few weeks.
Part 5? Good grief, how many parts are there going to be, Miss April?
6.
Good grief. How much can you possibly say about Daniel and them lions?
Well, there are a lot more stories in the book of Daniel besides the one about the lion's den.
Okay. What else did Nebuchadnezzar take besides some stuff from the temple?
He took young men who were members of the royal family. The ones who were good looking, had no physical defects, and were quick to learn. He wanted them to study the Babylonian language and culture and then serve in the palace.
Well, I reckon my mama would have been happy.
What do you mean?
Because Billy wouldn't have been one of the ones taken.
Oh, you must mean because your family isn't in the royal line descended from King David. But the Babylonians took some other folks as well.
No, that ain't what I meant.
Is it because he's only 8 years old and they captured older boys?
No.
Oh, well, what did you mean?
Didn't you just say they all had to be good looking and real smart?
Yes.
Well, that sure ain't Billy.
Beulah Higgins, your brother is both handsome and smart.
Miss April, wait, let me check. Yeah, Billy ain't in here this morning. He's helping Mamaw take care of the babies in the nursery, so you ain't gotta pretend nothing.
I'm not pretending. Billy could have definitely been one of the captives.
All right. Well, we're going to have to agree to disagree agreeably on that one, Miss April. What happened to all the guys that were selected?
They were taken to Babylon. They had 3 years to learn the Babylonian language and all the other stuff that the king wanted them to learn.
Sounds kind of like school.
Yes, except it was a school that they couldn't leave, and at the end of the 3 years, they would be tested by King Nebuchadnezzar. Daniel was one of the ones who was taken captive.
Lion's Den, Daniel?
Yes, Daniel and 3 of his friends, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah.
Oh, I ain't ever heard of those last 3.
Well, maybe you have. They were given the Babylonian names Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of them. How come Daniel didn't get a Babylonian name?
He did. It was Belteshazzar.
How come they all got new names?
Do you remember how Esther's name was really Hadassah?
Yeah, Esther was her Parmesan name.
Persian, yes. Daniel and his friends were probably given Babylonian names so they would forget about their old life as Hebrews in Judah and to start thinking of themselves as Babylonians. Most likely they were only teenagers when they were taken from their homes.
Were they treated nice in Babylon?
It seems like they were. King Nebuchadnezzar even gave orders that they were to eat the same food that he himself ate.
Oh, I bet it was good.
Probably so. But Daniel and his 3 friends decided that they weren't going to eat it.
Why?
Well, Nebuchadnezzar was a Gentile king.
He was a gentle king? What does that have to do with eating?
No, he definitely was not gentle. His own officials were afraid of him, as we'll see in just a second. A Gentile is anyone who isn't Jewish, and a Jewish person is someone who is a descendant of Abraham.
Oh, okay. But what does that have to do with eating?
Do you remember the book of the law that was discovered during King Josiah's reign?
Yeah.
Well, that book had a list of foods that were considered clean and a list of unclean foods. The Jewish people were only supposed to eat the foods that were clean.
Oh, that's why my mama's always reminding me to wash apples and strawberries before I eat them.
No. We should wash fruits and vegetables before we eat them to get rid of any pesticides, dirt, or germs. But the foods that were called clean in the book of the law were just the ones that were okay to eat.
Was cornbread and spaghetti clean?
Yes, the list of clean and unclean foods were only types of meat. Pork was one of the meats in the unclean category, and it was probably something that King Nebuchadnezzar liked to eat. Daniel also didn't want to drink what the king was drinking.
What was that?
Wine. Daniel may have taken a Nazirite vow like...
Samson.
That's right! Very good, Beulah.
I remember you saying that back when Billy grew his hair out because he was trying to be strong. Nazarites couldn't even eat oatmeal raisin cookies.
Right. Nothing that was made from grapes. We don't know if that was Daniel's reason, though. Another possibility is that the king's food may have first been sacrificed to idols. Whatever the reason, Daniel didn't want to eat the king's food because he felt that it would make him defiled.
Defiled? Is that like when you take something out of a filing cabinet?
No, it means to make something dirty or impure. Daniel and his friends had grown up keeping all of the rules in the book of the law, and they didn't want to stop doing that now that they lived in Babylon.
They needed to eat something, though. They sure couldn't go 3 years without eating. I don't like to go 3 hours without eating. That's why I got an easy bake oven in my bedroom. If I get hungry, I can whip me up a snack.
Well, Daniel and his friends didn't have an easy bake oven, so Daniel went to the person who was in charge of taking care of them and asked if they could eat something besides the king's food.
Did he say yes?
No, he said he was afraid of King Nebuchadnezzar. He said that if they became unhealthy, then the king might have him killed.
Good grief, he wasn't gentle.
Daniel didn't give up, though. He went to the steward, who was the person who was assigned to bring their food, and asked him to let them try something for just 10 days.
What was it?
He wanted him and his friends to eat only vegetables and drink only water for 10 days.
Oh, does candy corn count as a vegetable?
No.
Could they mix in some tea and a whole big bunch of sugar into that water?
No. They were going to eat only vegetables, real vegetables, and drink just plain water. And at the end of the 10 days, the steward was going to compare them to the other young men.
Did they look all sickly because they ate only yucky old vegetables?
No, Beulah, it was just the opposite. Vegetables are filled with vitamins and are really good for you. And since our bodies need water to function properly, it's the best thing we can drink. At the end of the 10 days, they looked much healthier than everyone else.
Oh.
After that, they were allowed to stop eating the king's food.
Well, how'd they do at the end of the 3 years?
They were the best. God had given them the ability to learn everything, and when King Nebuchadnezzar tested them, he found out that they were 10 times better than any of his other advisors throughout his whole kingdom.
Oh, I guess all them veggies worked.
Yes, but also God helped them to excel because they had been faithful to do things God's way. He even gave Daniel the ability to interpret visions and dreams like he had done for Joseph. We're going to learn more about that the next time in part 2 of our series.
Can you just go ahead and tell us now? I like to binge watch series.
No, you're just going to have to wait until next time.
All right. Is there going to be some free time today? I got to try and learn some more Spanish. There's a big old test coming up.
Yes, you can practice at the end of class.
Maybe I'll drink some water and eat a couple carrots this afternoon.
And study?
Yeah, unless Steffi can come over and play.
Maybe she can help you practice.
Oh, maybe she can help me make up a song to remember my vocabulary words. Gracias, Senora April.
De nada.